The next topic we're going to be talking about is why I quit my job as a network engineer or Netflix engineer making $450,000 a year. Let's jump on this one, guys. Let's jump on this one because many people think $450,000 a year, that you're set. You do that for a good four or 5 years. I'm like, you've made more money than most people make in a lifetime with a college degree. I'm like, your lifetime earnings for people with a college degree is about $2 million, they say. About $2 million, they say. And typically, that's over a good amount of time, maybe 25, 30 years. But if you're making $450,000 a year as a Netflix engineer, I mean, you're really doing that in about, 8 years, 10 years. So you've shortcutted that entire the old pay spectrum, the old pay scale, where it will take you 2.2 million, or it take you 25 to 30 years to get to 2.2 million. You're making $450,000 a year, man, you are making some big money. But Michael Lynn joined Netflix in 2017 as a senior software engineer. At first, he enjoyed his role. This is back in 2017. But after 2 years, Lynn wanted to go into product management, but found no clear pipeline to follow. He lost motivation and eventually received his preemptive severance package in May 2021. So he started working at Netflix as a senior software engineer in 2017 after leaving his job at Amazon. So he's worked at some big time companies. So he's a good software engineer. He's done some really good things in his career. He's probably very, very talented and so forth. But he was happy to get a promotion and return home to the Bay Area from Amazon to work for Netflix. And at the time, he thought that he would stay with Netflix forever. He made $450,000 a year. He got free food daily and had unlimited paid time off. It was a big tech dream. Guys, I'm going to tell you like this. Man. We talk about tech a lot on this channel. And when you see stories like this, I want you guys to think about, this is just a senior software engineer making $450,000 in 2017. 2017. Many people, the majority of people don't make $100,000 a year. That's why I push tech so much, because if you are in tech for a good amount of time, you're going to be hitting upper 6-figure salaries. And if you go into sales, you can be making close to $250,000, $300,000, $500,000. Some people will make $1 million a year. And if you climb the ladder to get to those senior manager positions, C-suite positions, you're going to be doing over $1 million a year working for tech companies. I want to bring you guys this exposure because I want you to dream big. Part of the conversations that I had last week with Brother Ray was about dreaming big. And a lot of times when we're growing up, we aren't told that you can make this amount of money. We aren't told that these are some of the things that you can do. We aren't told that, you can live a lifestyle like the rich and famous working for a tech company. We're just sold these dreams that the only way that you can look rich is by being a rapper. The only way that you can look rich is by being in the entertainment industry or a ball player. Well, a lot of these people, like our man, Mr. Lynn here, making $450,000 a year, you won't even blink twice. But if you looked at their bank account, they're making more money than your average. Not only that, they're making more money than the majority of your famous entertainers. And they're able to keep that money as well, too. So that's the reason why I'm pushing tech and want to bring you guys that exposure, because the money is out here. This guy was making $450,000 back in 2017. If you are a in-demand software engineer working for a major tech company, you can be doing that. If you're in tech sales, you can be doing that. And it's relatively easy. Now, I'm going to say this. When you start making that money, that doesn't mean you're going to be happy. And so forth. My advice is when you start making that kind of money, make sure you have a financial planner. Make sure you're investing into the things that you are looking to or growing that pot of money. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and future-proofing your finances so you don't have to worry about when you get up there in age and you start to lose your energy. You have to consistently put in the amount of work as you were in your 20s and your 30s. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person at all. So at the time, I thought I would stay at Netflix forever. I made $450,000 a year, got free food and unlimited paid time off. It was a big tech dream. When I left almost 4 years later, in May 2021, everyone thought I was crazy. My parents were the first to object. For them, my quitting was doing away their hard work of immigrating to the U.S. Listen to that. His parents even thought that him quitting a job making $450,000 a year was him doing away their hard work of immigrating to the U.S. They moved to the U.S. so that they could provide better opportunities for their family members, so that their son can get a good education, so that their son or daughter can get a good job, right? Many of us are in the United States and don't even think about that for our sons and daughters. Putting him into only sports, putting him into nothing, letting him play video games all day. Well, this is a family that saw that America has these opportunities and they're going to provide and give their sons and daughters opportunities to do so. We need to think the same way. We need to think the same way. My mentor was a second to object. He said I shouldn't quit without another job lined up because I'd miss out on leveraging my high salary when negotiating my pay the next job. Their comments made me pause for all 3 days before I spoke with my manager about leaving. 8 months later, I'm confident it was the right decision. When I started working at Netflix, I loved it. Working at Netflix was like getting paid to work on case studies you learn about in MBA programs. They made the memos for every product decision available for all employees to read, and I learned so much every day. Over the next 2 years, the shine began to wear off. The products and meetings blended together, and they felt like small variations of each other after a while. The engineering work began to feel like copy and paste. Then COVID-19 happened. The office shut down, and all my favorite parts of work, the socializing, the co-workers, the perks, they disappeared. Only thing left was work itself, and I didn't enjoy the work anymore. I wanted to have a bigger effect. For me, deciding to allocate engineering resource was more relevant to my career goals than the engineering work itself. And I wanted to transition into product management to lead these efforts. As a result, I spent 2 years networking within Netflix and applying for every product manager role I could find. None of my attempts panned out, and I was still doing the same job. So I want you guys to listen to what he said and think about Brother Damien, right? Brother Damien's been at a good company for a good amount of time, about a year. He's not been there longer than this gentleman here. Looking for another role. You may be at a company today and you may be looking for another role. I've been in the same position as well too, right? Wanting another role. No, I do exceptional work, getting paid very well and so forth, hitting my marks and so forth, right? And you want to do something else to change it up. I typically am in a role for about 3 years, right? He wanted to do something else because the role got boring for him, but he wasn't able to get to that next level as a product manager. What do you do in your career when you're not able to get to a position at the company that you're currently at? What do? Do you stay there, wait your time out, bite the bullet, continue being a great resource, a value resource, making $450,000 a year? Or do you take your talent somewhere else? Do you take your talent somewhere else? That's a question that I have for you. Now, what I would do is take my talent somewhere else. If I saw that there was no way for me to get to that product manager role inside of Netflix, I would have been applying for other companies while still doing my job as a senior software engineer at Netflix. It's not the end all be all at one company. You can learn to be a product manager at another company for a year or two and come back to Netflix if the opportunity arises. You don't just have to quit. But I understand where he's coming from, because if you have a good amount of money in the bank, and you don't want to do the work anymore, you can quit. But that's not for everybody. A lot of people aren't making anywhere near $450,000 a year. So toward the end of my job search for product manager role, I lost motivation and focus. Now that transition into the PM role was out of question, my high salary felt like an increasingly bad deal. When I started at Netflix, I was making money and continuously learning new things. Now I was just making money with no career progression. Guys, it's about ladder climbing, guys. Career progression. Where do you see yourself next? Where do you see yourself next? Otherwise, you continue doing the same thing over and over. That's fine. That's fine. But are you really growing? Are you satisfied with what you're doing? Are you satisfied with what you're doing? Are you really making an impact? For him, he's saying that he wanted the career progression and he would rather quit than to ladder climb. Now, I want you guys to think about this as well for yourselves. Just go to another company, seek another job, continue to get the $450,000, but find other opportunities. Or wait your time out. Wait your time out. Sometimes we just don't get it fast enough. Sometimes we just don't get it fast enough, and it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing. I mean, there have been many times in my career where I wanted it. And typically, I don't stop until I get it. But when I look back and say, okay, well, was it the time to get it? Maybe not. But when I did get it, I was satisfied when I got it. And it more than likely came with a better opportunity and more pay. So sometimes you just got to be patient, guys. And if you don't want to be patient, seek another role into another company. But make sure you still have your job. Make sure you still have your job. So my team's goals also start to diverge from my career goals, right? The team focused on engineering migration, where we had to move from one online system to another, while my interests veered towards entrepreneurship. The work I was doing didn't help me learn the business skills I needed. Sounds familiar. Many of you want to start your own entrepreneurship journey. Many of you want to do your own entrepreneurship journey. We were talking on a call last night on Pocket Watching with JT, and he was talking about, or a caller called in and said he was making about $300,000 a year. And what was his next step? Does he go into, interviewing? Does he go into, real estate, right? You're starting to think about being an entrepreneur. You have skills. If you're getting paid $450,000, you have a lot of opportunity to make more money by sharing your knowledge and your skills to other individuals. Because most people aren't making that, and they want to get to that point. So if you're a senior software engineer, there's many opportunities for you. You can help people with interview prep. You can help people with their resume. You can help people with coding. There's a lot of things. You can build a YouTube channel. People who talk about dev or development work on YouTube, you see their channels are $500,000 plus. 500,000 subscribers plus. They partner with boot camps. They partner with universities and so forth. Affiliate marketing. You can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money if you make this amount of money and decide to do a little side hustle for yourself. But he became less engaged in meetings, minimized doing work not relevant to product management, and dragged my feet on communication. My only motivation at the end was trying not to get fired. Unfortunately, my manager started to notice. In a heated performance review in 2021, he said that I needed to be more engaged in the team's engineering migration and be more communicative. In his words, I had to improve in these areas if I wished to remain on the team. He got to a point where he was no longer performing. This is when you hire a career coach. This is when you sign up for a career consultation or career coaching with Black Heights, right? You lost your motivation in your job. It's time for you to do something else. You want a project management role and you haven't gotten it yet? Surround yourself with the Black Heights community. Join the Patreon group. Join the Black Heights Patreon. If you are in a position right now in your career where you aren't feeling motivated to get the job done, and you're just going through the motions, and you want to make a career switch, you just don't know how, book a coaching session. Join the Patreon. Talk to brothers like Brother Salman Balcony, who is part of our Patreon, who is a technical account manager, Brother Damien. Talk to them about how they've been able to navigate their careers and get to where they ultimately want to be at, and how they continue to progress within their career. Talk to me. Book a coaching session. Join the Patreon. There's many ways that you can become part of communities to get your motivation back. And this is where I see Mr. Lee didn't have the community to support him. He didn't have the community to support him. And when you're making that amount of money, I'm going to tell you like this, you're going to need it. You're going to need it, especially for us. Especially for us, because you're going to reach a certain point where you're going to be very lonely. You continue to climb that ladder, there's not very many of us up there. So you want to be surrounded by individuals who are on that same sort of path. That's why it's important to be a part of people's Patreons. That's why it's important to be a part of people's communities. I was talking to Brother Carlos Mons about this a couple weeks ago. We want to climb. You want to continue to be that leader in that area to help others see that there's potential for them to get there to be making $1 million a year. But that journey to that top is lonely as hell sometimes. And that's why I created the Black Heights community. Because when you're on your way, others need to be seeing that. Others need to be seeing that so they can see what success looks like. So it becomes a repeated process. Having guys like Ray come on the show to talk about how he's been able to build over a $10 million company in the United States and then make a transition to another country. And he looks like us. And yet the media will tell you that we aren't doing much. No, the ladder climbers are crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. So, guys, what I would say here is this. Make sure you surround yourself with people that are on your path when you start to make a good amount of money. Surround yourself with communities that support you and that believe into your mission and what you're trying to do, because the average person will not understand. The average person will not understand where you are going. So you have to find these communities for yourself. You have to invest in these communities for yourself. You have to invest in coaches and mentors. It's important. But let's talk about his life after Netflix. I thought my life would be over after leaving Netflix. I was worried that I'd have no social life, and it had previously resolved around his work. But the opposite happened. I met more people through starting my own business, other entrepreneurs, writers, and creators. I now feel a deep calmness inside me, an unshakable belief that everything will be okay, even if any future success is not guaranteed right now. It's been 8 months since I quit my job and Netflix, and I've decided to commit fully to working for myself. Although I just started and don't have any dependable streams of income yet, I'm just trust the process that if I do work that energizes me, good things will happen. Okay. You know what? That's what he thinks. And we'll do a follow-up story on this one as well, too. So he quit his job. He went into the entrepreneurship route. The good thing about him being able to do that is had the money, guys. He probably had a good savings. I'm going to tell you like this. Do not follow a path like this if you don't have a savings at all. If you think that entrepreneurship is going to be easy, it's not. It's not. Getting your first customer is very difficult. Waking up every single day to do the little things to make sure that your business is running is difficult. Especially when you're working another job. I'm going to use what JT said last night. Being an entrepreneur is like, or you're having a business and running a business is like having a baby. And you guys know, if you had kids before, babies take time. They need to be fed every couple hours. They need to be rocked. They need to be talked to. They need to be dealt with. They need to be changed. The entrepreneurship journey isn't for everyone. But if you want to go into that journey, make sure you have a good amount of income to be able to support what it is that you want to do. And I encourage individuals who are high earners that found their passion and they have the money to invest into their passion to do it while they're working. Do it while you're working, whether that's real estate, investing, whether that's, giving back, becoming a, somebody who does interviews with individuals or for individuals or helping people get into tech, whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever it is that you want to do, you want to have the income for it. All right, let's hit on the next topic, guys.